Hey you guys, like, comment, and share because YouTube did not like my last video. So please get us back on the algorithm. So much thanks. Thank you guys. Enjoy the video and make sure to show this to everyone you know so that everyone knows what's going on. Everyone needs to know this stuff. All right, see you guys next time. Bye.
Kind of weird how much we hear about BlackRock and how shady and evil they are, but we don't hear too much about JP Morgan and how shady and evil they are, because they tend to settle out of court and just pay fines so they can feign ignorance to things like servicing Homeboy's trafficking ring for, 15 years or something, and providing millions of dollars in cold hard cash. Well, just happening to not file the forms required to report such suspicious activity, and then receiving referrals of really rich people as a quid pro quo, as in like, I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine. But I actually want to rewind to 2008 when JP Morgan and the other investment bankers nearly crashed the entire global economy for their own gains. If you're not old enough to remember, it was a really big deal. And the only reason it wasn't an even bigger deal than the Great Depression was because the taxpayers bailed out these banks with our money. But not because we voted to, but because the politicians that they lobbied were the ones that chose to give them our money in order to solve their problems. But in 2013, the Justice Department finally brought some justice to them and fined JP Morgan $13 billion. It was the largest settlement with a single entity in American history. And JP Morgan was forced to acknowledge that it made serious misrepresentations to the public, like you and me, about selling them these trash ass securities. And they weren't the only ones to do this. They defrauded organizations like our pensions, retirement funds. And let's be clear, it's not because they accidentally messed up. They were committing fraud. We're talking all out white collar crime where bankers steal money from everyone all at once. It ain't highway robbery. It's robbery on a global scale. But fortunately, we're holding them accountable with these investigations and the largest settlement to date, $13 billion. I'm sure that had a big effect on JP Morgan. In fact, that probably straightened JP Morgan right out. They probably never want to endure a $13 billion loss again. That probably almost ended JP Morgan. Let's look at JP Morgan's stock price. I bet we can see in 2013 where they were forced to settle, and their stock price went up a lot. Weird. And in 2014, where they gave their boy Jamie a giant pay raise, and where they gave out a whole bunch of $1 million cash bonuses, $1.5 million salary, $11.1 million in stock, $18.5 million in stock. So you're telling me the year after JP Morgan got fined $13 billion for like big crime? Clearly, $13 billion didn't do shit. And clearly, taking your cut of the profits, government, isn't doing anything to hold anyone accountable because Jamie Dimon is still in charge of the show. And it's kind of weird how in 2013 and 2014, all sorts of JP Morgan bankers and employees started mysteriously unaliving by doing this thing that I'm not supposed to say out loud, and like jumping from tall structures and having weird heart attacks. This list goes on and on. This guy, James Crown, from one of the most powerful military aligned families in the United States, he's been on the board of JP Morgan for like almost 20 years. He's been in charge of their risk management division. You know, the division that's supposed to stop the bank from basically collapsing the entire global economy. Well, James did a great job of that when you could pause and read through all the different scandals that James was a part of, from things like Bernie Madoff's Ponzi scheme, rigging foreign exchange markets, rigging precious metals markets. Oh, and did I mention that this guy mysteriously died in a speed race car accident on a private track at a private club at the age of 70, you know, as 70-year-olds do, crashing unsafe cars at high speeds that don't have any safety measures in them? It's kind of weird. I'm not really sure what kind of business you have to be in order to be able to eat a $13 billion loss and have your stock price go up, but I'm sure it's not a good one. Y'all should probably read some Whitney Webb. Oh, and by the way, have we mentioned that banks don't actually produce value? They don't produce anything? Yeah, these guys, the ones that just ate a $13 billion loss and decided to pay out extra bonuses because of it, they literally just make money out of thin air and then loan it to you and then charge you for the right of having borrowed their made up money. That's what interest is. Oh, or they gamble with the money that is deposited with them on risky ass derivatives and then crash the entire global economy when they fail to manage that risk. And then they get us to pay our tax money to bail them out so they can pay themselves bonuses. What am I missing? Anyone want to defend banks in the comments? Do you? You want to do that? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Congress shall now vote for approval of H.R. 8791, the Homeland Terrorism Preparedness Bill. Said bill requests emergency response funding up to and including, this section is classified, dollars to prepare for a national level terrorist attack and or attack from classified. Funding for first responder personnel and vehicles would be doubled if said attack leads to more than 80% of national population being affected by classified. This funding shall commence in conjunction with the first attack on classified, or the first large-scale outbreak of classified, dependent upon which comes first. Civilian and military units shall be trained in containment and combat of classified, including irradiated classified, with possibility of classified airborne, classified flesh-eating, classified, and or all of the above in such event as classified spewing, classified escape, are released or otherwise become uncontrollable. Air Force units may also be directed to combat said classified due to their enormous size and otherworldly strengths. Should event occur in urban areas, that's classified, far surpassing our darkest nightmares. Should casualties exceed classified, body disposal actions shall be halted and associated resources shall be reallocated to classified underground, classified protected birthing centers. New Bill of Rights shall be drafted and approved by classified. Having now reviewed the bill, I ask you to please cast...
The CIA doesn't want you to know that this island exists. It's called Diego Garcia, and it is located in the Indian Ocean. In 2008, Time magazine published an article about the island of Diego Garcia, stating that it is where the CIA takes all its detainees to torture them. But they also believe that the CIA conducts experiments beneath this island. Have you heard about the Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 that disappeared? In reality, this flight may not have vanished. It landed there, and they abducted the people from the plane and subjected them to torture. The reason we might think this is because there was an IBM employee on the plane who posted a photo 10 days after the plane's disappearance. The photo showed what looked like some sort of experimental room. And if you look at the geographic coordinates of the photo, it matches this island.
Aliens have been trying to leave us technology for free energy devices for a very long time. Now, if you guys question the authenticity of crop circles, I highly suggest doing some research. And if you're too lazy to do the research, I've done it for you, and so is this man. This is Professor William Levengood, and he's been studying crop circles for a very, very long time. Now, what we noticed on the real crop circles is the seeds of the stalks would all explode out of the nodes, and the crops would coil up like this. And the magnetic energy at these sites is off the charts. Now, with that being said, some are fakes, not all possess these qualities. But when you look into these real ones, it's easy to see that they're trying to give us free energy devices. This crop circle is placed in front of a windmill and it displays magnetic wheel energy, something far more sustainable than windmills. And it's also free energy. Here's another magnetic motor that was created off of a crop circle blueprint. And an Italian inventor named Umberto Berdau created this free energy device off this alien-created crop circle blueprint. There is absolutely no doubt that the UFOs are creating these crop circles to help us unlock the secrets of the universe. This one represents our 7 chakras, our 7 energy centers within the body. Unlocking these energy centers will help any individual tap into the secrets of the universe. You'll see many crop circles represent magnetic fields, and all these crop circles are created using extreme mathematical precision and divine sacred geometry. There is no doubt that the UFOs are trying to help humanity reach our full potential. Peace and love.
One of the things that many people don't understand is Google is at the core of the global cabal. They really are. And the brainwashing propaganda that has been launched against the worldwide population would be far less effective if Google didn't exist. What people don't understand is that Google controls, just with their own search engine, 93% of the searches done in the world.
You call them the cabal. I like calling them the mafia. That's what they are. That's how they work.
Well, the organized crime is a big part of it.
Yeah.
There's a really strong collaboration of organized crime and military intelligence. There are a lot of theories to who they are. Clearly, they're some of the wealthiest families, and it's typically the family. If you think about it, you know, ostensibly, Musk is the wealthiest guy in the world. That's what they want you to believe, but there's no way, shape, or form he is. That's a drop in the bucket compared to families who have obtained generational wealth over centuries.
Do you have hope that this darkness will eventually subside and that truth will prevail?
I believe, certainly could be wrong, but I believe things are going to get much, much, much worse before they get better.